In all my years making content, I've never talked about the scary things that have happened. Not scary like danger, but scary like spooky things that happen in jails and in prisons. I don't know why. I just felt like some of them were kind of weird and sacred and like I didn't want to be made fun of. But I have only shared a few with you guys, and I've gotten lots of requests for me to share my spooky, like, prison stories or whatever. And so I'm just going to start sharing them. I was in the county jail one time, and this girl was coming down the hall, and like I guess somebody got caught sight of her because we were all in the day room, just kind of sitting around watching TV and stuff. And this girl was like, "Yo, Chrissy's coming," and all of a sudden, all the women like started piling up in each other's room, and I was like, what is going on? Because I didn't know who Chrissy was, and I didn't know why everybody was getting piled up in their room. So I'm just sitting there at the picnic table, like just watching as this girl comes in. And she's this short girl. She's got curly brown hair, and like she looks pretty normal to me. So this officer is escorting her into like the large area, and she's like, yo, whose room is open? And all the women were like, oh, well, I'm in here with, you know, Beth, or I'm in here with Medea. Like, I'm in here with somebody. And like, I was the only one who didn't have a roommate. And so they were like, Cisco, you got a new roommate. I was just like, whatever, it's a minor inconvenience, but you get roommates in jail. Like, that's just the way it is. Like, you can't help that. And so this girl comes into the cell, and I'd already taken the bottom bunk, so she was on the top bunk. She kind of puts her bag down, and she walks back out into the day room. She sits at the picnic table, and like the couple of girls who were sitting out there on the picnic tables, like got up and left. They were like, yo, what's up, Chrissy? Like, kind of friendly, but not. And they got up and they went back into their cells, and I was just like kind of observing all this. Like, at night we get locked into our cells. Like, they put us in there and they lock the door, and like free time is over. And so I kind of told Chrissy what's up. Like, I was there first, so I kind of held rank as far as like how the bunk would be run. And so I told her what's up, like, no dirty clothes, don't leave food out, don't be smelling the place up. You gotta have hygiene, stuff like that. And she was just like, yeah, sure, no problem, whatever, that's cool. And like, she seemed cool to me, and she didn't bother me none. She wasn't disrespectful at all. Like, she just seemed like, I don't know, a normal person. The night passes, all is well. The only thing is, I do notice her like whispering in her sleep, kind of like sleep talking, but whatever, that's completely okay. I've had roommates who snore so loud that I couldn't even sleep. So the next morning, I'm in the bathroom and I hear these two girls who are brushing their teeth. They're up by the sink, and I heard the name Chrissy. And then I heard them start talking about her. And I heard what I'm saying, like, yeah, I was in her room. She was in my bunk back in '05, and like, this is what happened. And I was like, what? And I kind of listened closely, but I couldn't really hear like what they were saying. I couldn't understand. But obviously something happened with Chrissy in '05. And you got to understand, like, that's how jail was. Like, some people were in and out, and they got to know other people, and like they didn't know each other on the street, but they knew each other in jail. Like, that's just how the jail culture was. I grab my roll of toilet paper. I walk back to my cell, and I see Christy sitting on the top bunk. She's sitting crisscross applesauce, and she's looking down at the chair, because we have like this metal chair that's like stuck against the wall, and it's like a little stool, and there's a table next to it. And she's like looking down at this metal chair, and she's like talking, like arguing. And I walked in, and she got quiet, and I was like, hey, what's up? A lot of people in jail also have like mental stuff, and so I'm not judging. Like, if she has a touch of schizophrenia, like, she sees things, that's okay. Like, that's okay. Later that day, Chrissy gets called for bond hearing, and so she's out of the little jail area. She is with the officers, and she's going to court. And I was like, yo, just tell me what's going on with Chrissy. Like, and they start telling me these stories. They're like, yeah, Chrissy like she talks to herself, and like some people have said that they saw something in their cell before, like, but only when Chrissy's around, and just some like little spooky things, and I was just like, ooh, that's scary, like, tell me more. I was excited. Like, I love spooky, freaky little things like that. Like, I want to get freaked out. There's nothing else to do in jail besides tell little stories like that. And so I'm listening and everything, and I'm loving it, and they're just telling me all these stories about Chrissy and like this guy. And there were different theories about who the guy was, like an ex-boyfriend, and then it was one of her victims, like an old sugar daddy. Like, they had all these different theories about who this guy was that was like a ghost that followed her around. And whatever, she comes back from bond hearing. It turns out she's going to serve like 21 days. I was serving 21 days, but I was already at the end of my 21 days. I think I was at like 18 or 19 at that point. I was fixing to go home. So that night, Oh, and I forgot to tell you, I don't know if this is relevant or not, but that day I went back while she was in bond hearing. I went back into her cell, and like on her bunk, you could see, because just sitting straight up, you could see the top of her bunk. She had like notebook papers, and she had written on them, except for it was like scrawl in a different language. Like if I were to write with my left hand and try to write a letter, that's what it would look like. It was just like wild. I was like, maybe her education level just isn't great. She didn't get to practice, writing. So whatever. I don't know if that's relevant or not. That night, after lights out, I'm asleep and I'm facing the concrete wall. And at some point in the night, I turn over and like I'm rolling over to my other side, and I see somebody who was sitting at the chair. I see them get up and walk. And I was just like, what in the world? Where does she think she's going? Like, we're locked in here. But then I feel her above me in the top bunk. I feel her turning over. So I was just like, I was dreaming. Obviously, I must have been like dreaming or something, something crazy like that. The next night, I was a little bit more freaked out. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I started kind of getting in my head about it. I was like, what did I see last night? Did I see anything at all? I don't know. It's just in my head. And so I was already kind of freaked out. And it was the night before I was gonna be going home. I was leaving the next day. And so I was already not sleeping well, just in anticipation of leaving jail, getting out. Lights are out. We go to bed. I'm tossing and turning, and I hear like whispering in the night. And I was sleeping like on my back, kind of on my side, and I can hear whispering, and I hear her up there like, and I was just like, what is that? What is she doing? And y'all, I knew that if I turned my head and looked over, that I would see something. I just knew it was there. And I was like, you're freaking yourself out. You're freaking yourself out. Like, don't think like that. And I turned just a little bit, and there was a man, completely blacked out, like a shadow man, sitting on that little stool, leaned forward like this right here. And I saw it clear as day. I saw it, everything. I promise you, I saw it. And she was literally on the top bunk. I could hear her whispering. And y'all, I swear I heard her say, she saw you. And then laughter, like, like giggling, whisper laughing.